Aloha and good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, March 11, 2026, and the time is 10:08 a.m. Will the Committee on Budget please come to order? I'd like to welcome to the committee members who are present in the chamber today, Committee Vice Chair Nishimoto, Council Members Cordero, Kia Aina, Talba, and Council Chair Waters. Also joining us today, I'd like to welcome Council Member Tupola. Although remote oral testimony is being permitted, this is a regular in-person meeting and not a remote meeting by interactive conference technology under HRS Section 92-3.7. Therefore, the meeting will continue notwithstanding loss of audio-visual communication with remote testifiers or loss of the public broadcast of the meeting. Members of the public will be allowed to provide oral testimony on all items on the agenda in two ways: in person in the council chamber and remotely via video conference or phone. Remote and in-person oral testimony will be allowed when each agenda item is taken up. Before testifying, each person shall state their name. Each speaker may not have anyone else read their statement and is limited to a 1-minute presentation on each item. As both English and Hawaiian are official languages of the state of Hawaii, pursuant to Article 15, Section 4 of the Hawaii State Constitution and Section 1-13 of the Hawaii Revised Statutes, members of the public may testify in either language. For oral testimonies offered in Olelo, Hawaii, additional time as may be necessary will be allowed for the testifier to provide an English translation of their testimony. All persons who have registered to testify in person shall be called upon first. When your name is called, please come up to the testifier podium. Persons who have not registered will be given an opportunity to testify following the registered testifiers. After in-person testimony has concluded, I will proceed to remote testimony via video conference or phone. When I call your name, please monitor your screen and follow the prompt to unmute. For those who are joining us by telephone only, please press *9 if you wish to testify, and I will identify you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. When your number is called, please listen for the prompt to unmute and press *6. Some friendly reminders and tips: video conference from a quiet location if possible. If you're also watching the proceedings on Olelo, please mute your television at the time you are called to testify. When the timer on screen reaches 0, please conclude your remarks promptly. Written testimonies, including the testifier's address, email address, and phone number, will be available to the public as described on the posted agenda. As a courtesy, please turn off or silence all cell phones for the duration of this meeting. For announcements, members, as a reminder, if you have any supplementary questions for the departments that may come up during or after the meeting, please provide them to my office so we may compile them for the department or managing director's office to respond. We look forward to all of your questions. And also, members, I plan to take a break again for lunch. The start time and duration will be dependent on the flow of the meeting. One final announcement: due to the inclement weather and out of an abundance of caution, the committee will be posting an agenda for Tuesday, March 17, 2026, if budget briefings need to be canceled tomorrow. Agenda item number 1, informational briefing. Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation Capital and Operating Budget Review. We will first proceed with testimony. Clerks, do we have any in-person testifiers for this item?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. Proceeding now with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any remote testifiers for this item?
Chair, there are none.
Thank you. We'll now proceed with the HART Capital and Operating Budget Review. For your information, the presentation is available online as Departmental Communication 181-2026. And joining us from HART, we have Michael O'Keefe, Deputy Executive Director and Chief Operating Officer. Aloha and good morning, Deputy O'Keefe.
Aloha, Budget Committee Chair and Council members. Thank you for the opportunity to present our FY27 budget request. Executive Director Kahikina apologizes she cannot be here. She had a previously scheduled business commitment that she was unfortunately unable to reschedule in order to be here today. So she apologizes but sent us on her behalf. And before I get started, I'd just like to introduce 2 very important members of the HART team sitting behind me. First, Vance Suda, Project Director, and also Richard Oshiro, who is Heart's Director of Budget and Finance. So with that, I'll get started. Okay, just beginning with a kind of a high-level overview of our fiscal year 27 request. For background, the Board of Directors approved the budget that you're about to see at its November 21st, 2025 meeting. The total proposed operating budget request for fiscal year 27 is $177.6 million. That's up by about $2.8 million or 1.6% over the current fiscal year request. The total capital request of $891.5 million, it was an increase of $97.8 million or 12.3% over the current fiscal year. And I'll get into the details of those increases in subsequent slides. So an overview of our operating budget request and the major components. So a very large portion, approximately 97% of our operating budget request is comprised of debt service. That's $172.6 million. Of that $172 million, $135.5 are principal payments on outstanding bonds, 33.8 are interest payments, and we also have an additional $3.3 million included in there related to administrative charges and fees related to our tax-exempt commercial paper program and anticipated arbitrage expenses on our debt. And I'll get into that a little bit more in subsequent slides also. Another highlight of our operating budget request is that our total labor costs are budgeted at $1.3 million, and that's a decrease of about $252,000 or 16.8% from the current fiscal year. Some information on our outstanding debt. This comprises all of our outstanding debt, all of Heart's outstanding debt as of March 2026. So in total, about $750 million in outstanding debt. I should mention that between now and the end of the current planned project scope in 2030, we do not anticipate issuing any new GO bond debt. We have authorization to, and we may use tax-exempt commercial paper, which is a kind of a short-term liquidity tool. We've requested funds for that in 2027, and we will probably request funds for that in subsequent fiscal years too, as we get closer to the end of the project and our cash balance. And our spending increases and our cash balance goes down, so the tax-exempt commercial paper would just be there to get us through times of low liquidity where we need to borrow money in order to make sure we can finance the project. I mentioned that we have money in that for fiscal year 27. It's probably, if I had to guess, it's probably unlikely that we'll use commercial paper in fiscal year 27, but we have it in there just in case. Heart staffing. So we currently have, as of February 2026, we currently have 50 filled positions. By the end of fiscal year 27, we anticipate filling 22 more Heart City positions for a total of 72. And just the way our budget works, because we're almost entirely dedicated to, Heart is almost entirely dedicated to construction, a very large portion of our budget is capitalized or included in our capital budget. So of those 72 positions, 6.5 are allocated in the operating side of the budget, and 65.5 are capitalized or included in our capital budget. We have a total authorized positions in our entire organization of Heart City employees of 98. A little bit more vacancies. Vacancies as of February, we had 22. We project to fill 8 of those by the start of fiscal year 27, and then 14 more throughout fiscal year 27, and that reflects the number on the top of 22 that we anticipate filling by the end of fiscal year 27. We are not planning to abolish any positions. Okay, here's a little bit more information on this slide about our labor costs. Some highlights on the left, and this kind of pertains to the top half of the table you're looking at. So this table on the right is broken into two main categories. That's on the top first 4 or 5 rows or so is HART staff, and then underneath that is the HART board labor cost. So with respect to the top portion, operating salary and benefits decreased by about $92,000 from the current fiscal year, 8.7%. And that was really primarily due to the fact that in 26, we had to budget for the temporary hazard pay payments that were issued related to COVID. We no longer have to do that in fiscal year 27. That money was paid out. So hence the decrease there. As it relates to the board salaries, on the bottom half of this chart, there was a decrease of about $160,000 over the current fiscal year, about 36.3%. And that was solely related to, there are 2 positions dedicated to the HART board. The HART board, as it evaluated and developed its budget request for 2027, decided that it would eliminate one of those positions and then just go with one position. And just to clarify, the position that it eliminated was vacant and not filled for this fiscal year. The position that it's keeping, its executive officer position, is filled, and so that position will continue to be funded in 27, but what you see there as a reduction is the elimination of that second position. They're electing to go with just one position for fiscal year 27. The main reason for the decrease there. Okay, on the next slide, we're looking at our anticipated funding sources or revenue for fiscal year 27. So I'll just go through each item. The first item, or the first 2 items, I should say, are the GET and the TET. That is the surcharge revenue that we get from the state. That comprises approximately 75% of our funding, so the vast majority of our funding. The next category is the Oahu TAT funding. The fourth category is our federal funding. So that is our full funding grant agreement, we refer to as the FFGA. We anticipate receiving $125 million under our FFGA in fiscal year 27. And that's related to the completion of the utility relocation work for the entire project. So the remaining utility relocation work for the current planned scope, broken into 2 components. Kind of downtown Iwilei area is one component. The other component is Dillingham, which is very much still ongoing, as everyone knows. The downtown Iwilei utility relocation work, we're very, very, very close, 99.9% done with that, with the field work. We're just doing some minor punch list stuff right now. That's going to be wrapped up. We're projecting completing the Dillingham utility relocation work by the end of this calendar year, 2026. So when that's done, we will gain access to the next $125 million tranche under the FFGA. So we're currently in the process, and just taking a step back on the federal funds, the FFGA, we're currently in the process of applying for payment for an additional $125 million that became available to us when we opened segment 2. Our request is with the FTA right now. We anticipate being able to submit invoices on that very soon. That's $125 million there. $125 million again by the end of 2026 with the completion of the utility relocation work. And there's a final $119 million that becomes available to us in September of 2027. That's under the that's under the terms of the FFGA. That final 119 isn't tied to any performance milestone like the other 2 tranches I just talked about, opening of segment 2, utility relocation. The final 119 is just tied to a date. So moving on, city subsidy, that is the annual $10 million that the city earmarks from proceeds from the sale of its GO bonds to the HART project. So we're projecting to receive that again in fiscal year 27. Next category, bonds. I mentioned that we have no plans to issue GO bonds. Next category, TECP, tax-exempt commercial paper. That is what I also just briefly mentioned. We have programmed in our budget to borrow up to $150 million in TECP. But as I mentioned, at this point, I don't think we're going to need to do that, but it's there in case we need it. And then that's our unreserved cash balance at the bottom of this table for a grand total of almost $1.3 billion. Okay, a little bit more of a breakdown on that previous slide with the pie chart. On this slide, this is basically the same information what you see here in the FY27 budgeted amount, but it shows being shown here in contrast to what we budgeted in fiscal year 26, and you can see the differences there. So I'll just go through the differences really quick. We have GET, TAT, and Oahu TAT at the top three rows. And we're just projecting, that's just kind of a program projected increase, year over year increase in revenue from those three different funding sources. Fiscal year, I mentioned the federal funding in fiscal year 26. We gained access to $125 million for the opening of segment 2. In fiscal year 27, we're going to gain access to another $125 million with the completion of the utility relocation work. City subsidy, again, $10 million to $10 million. That doesn't change. That's the annual injection from the city to HART. No bonds. We didn't request for any commercial paper in 26, but we are doing so in 27. And then the last category, relatively small, other revenue. That's mainly what that is interest income on our cash reserves. And so while you see a decrease there, is as we get further into 2027, construction gets more aggressive. Billing increases and our payouts increase. Our cash balance just continues to go down, and therefore we'll make less money on our interest income. Okay, next slide is just one slide on the capital budget request here. So five, call them projects. The first project, CCGS, or the City Center Guideway and Stations, that's the contract or the project we call segment 3 from Middle Street through Kaka'ako. 6 stations, 3 miles. That has a fixed contract price that was awarded in 2024, I'm sure you recall, of $1.6 billion. So the request that we made in fiscal year 2026 and in 2027 is just to allocate money to that contract. This is not an increase in that contract amount. This is just, we have an awarded contract and we're allocating funds to the contract year over year. HART's budget, unlike the city and county's budget, HART's budget has a 12 CIP budget that has a 12-month cycle, whereas the city's budget has CIP budget has a 24-month cycle. So we add funds every year. We make adjustments every year. The next projects, the Pearl Highlands Transit Center and Access Ramp. This is money that we had budgeted in fiscal year 2026, but we're not going to be able to get to encumber in 2026. So what will happen is that money will go back into our project fund, and we will get it bid and awarded in fiscal year 2027. This project, we anticipate being able to start this project by the end of this year and complete it before 2030. We're required to complete it before 2030, but it certainly will be completed before 2030. The next project is the Waipahu Station Makai entrance. This is just to add an additional entrance on the Makai side of the Waipahu Station. This project is essentially fully designed, and we're going to advertise for bids for construction soon. Project will start this calendar year, 2026, so the first half of 2027, and will be completed by calendar year 2028. Second to last project, the Park and Rides construction. These are the lots at the East Kapolei Station and the UH West Oahu Station. So East Kapolei, we are going to build a 900 stall lot there. And the UH West Oahu, that will be an 1,100 stall lot. That will replace the existing temporary 300 stall lot. So it's not 1,100 stalls in addition to the 300 there. That 300 stall temporary lot will go away, and there will be this new 1,100 stall permanent parking facility. That project is projected to start, construction on that project is projected to start the end of this year, beginning of 2027, with a completion date in 2028. And that concludes my presentation, but I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Director. Members, we will start off our questions. We'll start with Councilmember Tolba for this first round.
Thank you, Chair. Deputy Director, I missed it, but the 119 million in the last federal, can you explain that to me and what will be used? I know you said the 127 is for, the 125 was for the 2027, right? Fulfillment. But the balance of the 119, what was it for again?
That is the last tranche of funding in the FFGA and the federal full funding grant agreement, and that is just what will become available to us according to the terms of the FFGA in September of 2027. Okay. Everything else in the FFGA, or recently anyway, was tied to a performance milestone
benchmark, right?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. So the last 119 million was just paying off balance.
Yeah, it's just the 1.55 billion in the FFGA after the last performance-based milestone, utility relocation, and then that is just the remaining. That 119 will get us to the 1.55 billion.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for meeting with me in a private meeting. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Tolba. Committee Vice Chair Nishimoto. Thank you, Chair Waters. You're good. Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you, Chair Okimoto. Hi, is it Deputy Director O'Keefe? Thank you very much for the presentation and update. I do have a question relating to when we are designing, or the contractors are designing these stations, and before we even turn it over to DTS. And I know that when they are constructed, of course, there's a certain amount of ADA requirements for either escalators and also elevators. And I know that the maintenance and operations goes to DTS to handle, but is there a way to look at better requirements to the contractors to ensure that they, I don't know any other better words to say, but last longer? You know what I mean? Like, so that they don't break down as often. I'm always getting the notifications. Luckily, I'm just passing through those stations as opposed to having to go down or needing to use those things that need to go up and down. But yeah, I was just wondering.
Yeah, thanks, Councilmember. I'll take that back to the team. But the one thing I can say is that we're from segments 1 and 2, we're part of our QC process, and as we're designing segment 3, and in the event that we design further segments, we're always looking at lessons learned from the first 2 segments, whether it be mechanical operational issues like you talked about with the elevators, or anything related to the station that matter, the trains, everything. So, but I'll highlight that as a note for the team to keep in mind. But yeah, we're constantly trying to learn from the past and get better in the future.
Thank you so much. And I noticed that, and I failed to ask this in our meetings, but because we were focused on other parking and park and rides, but there was no park and ride funded last year, yeah? Last fiscal year. I see Mr. Oshiro nodding. And I was just wondering,
Yes.
With a $67 million budget, $67,144,091, budgeted for this year, do we skip every other year and just focus on like how do we plan out for that? What's the planning for that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I don't know why we didn't start work on that project earlier. I think it was just in our overall schedule of work. We were ramping up, really heavily involved in completing segment 2. I can get you more information on that, why this wasn't budgeted earlier, but it's always our intention to do this.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I knew. It was in the plan for the certain stations for those park and rides, and it was just interesting to me that that last fiscal year, I know a year goes by so fast, but that we didn't just take care of that. I get the ramping up of the construction, and I'm hoping that Dillingham will be done soon. Nah, just kidding. I know it's not going to be done soon, but anyway.
We're getting there.
Yeah. Okay. But yes. Okay, I understand. But hopefully we can continue to take care of the park and rides so that I guess we don't have to shore everything up in one fiscal year. I do have a question relating to, you noted that there's no changes in staff or FTE, but does that change for contractors at all? Are you decreasing the amount in contractors within HART? Or increasing?
That's a good question. So the contractor utilization of contractor resources kind of ebbs and flows with the work that we have going on. Like right now, we're very, very heavy into construction on segment 3. So our specialty, the contractors that we use that have specialty expertise related to transit construction, they're very busy doing work right now. As are certain safety elements. As we get closer to completion, we'll have our really ramp up on our core systems side and make sure that everything is tested and working the way it should be before we certify it and turn it over to DTS for operations. So it really depends. It kind of ebbs and flows. How we use different specialty technical contractors throughout the project cycle, depending on what's happening in the field. Like at the beginning, it's design and planning, then not so much, then it's construction and safety, and then it's what we call core systems, or the kind of the technical elements of the integration and in preparation for operation.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any contractors to help? Oh no, never mind. That would be the HART board to look for outside funding. Never mind. Scratch that. I do want to talk about the other Mackay entrance in Waipahu. You mentioned, and I got the dates, I put question marks because I got confused with the dates that you mentioned. You said, and going out to bid in end of 2026 and then beginning of 2027, or am I wrong there?
We anticipate starting, I'm going to look at my team real quick, but we anticipate starting construction before the end of this calendar year.
Oh, okay.
That's correct. Yeah.
Thank you. I put bid, and it didn't make sense to me. So
bid soon. Bid soon in the next couple months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My last question, and I know it's not in my district, so I hope it's okay that I ask. But I know that in our meeting, I talked about the Kapolei, the other lot that's going to be in Kapolei, and I was like, when was this designed? 1, and 2, how are we able to make the landing of the station and then also the pedestrian overpass and then where the parking location is makes sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, I know that's not a budget question, but if we are able to help it make sense and reallocate funding to make it seamless and safe for people, because you still got to go far, 6 lanes to cross that way.
We got great feedback from multiple council members on that very item, and so we're kind of back to the drawing board on that right now, and we have some options that we're exploring, and as the specifics, I probably can't share them right now, but
sorry.
I'm happy to provide updates offline or at any point. Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to rock the boat or anything.
Yeah, but suffice it to say, we're taking another look at that.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you, and thanks to Councilmember Tupola for letting me bring that up. And thank you, Chair Okimoto, and thank you, Deputy Director O'Keefe.
Thank you, Councilmember Cordero. Vice Chair Tupola.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember Cordero, you're not off track here. I definitely think that parking lot got to make more sense. So I'm just going to let you run the ball on that because there's multiple ways we could do it, but anything we can do to help. And obviously in the future, if that looks like a long-term economic parking lot for people going to the airport, that would make so much sense because Westsiders would rather not drive and pick up family members in the middle of traffic if they don't have to. But again, no one's gonna go and drive there if they can't leave their car overnight. I know I've said this, I'm just saying it again to the universe so that the universe can hear me. Thank you. I have a few questions. For the operating budget 6.5 budget staffing, it's in the operating because why? And then the 65.5 is in capital budget because
Yeah, so there's a kind of a long established HART policy that's guided in part by federal guidelines about how you allocate costs on a project like ours, like a project that's almost entirely, if not entirely, dedicated to building something like an asset, like a CIP project. So roughly, our policy, again, which is guided by federal guidelines, is that we capitalize roughly 80%, 80 to 90% of our costs, of our operating costs in the capital budget, and the remaining balance is in the operating budget. So it's just the way, it's kind of an accounting function. It's just how we divvy up the cost because of the nature of our work.
yeah, interesting that staffing could go under capital, but if it makes sense and it's the way it's supposed to go, that's great. I think with your projected vacancies, it's realistic. You know, filling 8 by July and then maybe 14 next year, that's realistic. You know, other departments come and say they're going to fill 70 one year. I'm like, come on. So I do wish you guys luck with that. I know you guys need all the hands on deck that you can. And then in regards to the page where it says expected funding source, in the other revenue, 2.2 million, just in brief, what is the other revenue?
So most of that consists of the interest income on our cash reserve. Yeah.
Okay, so I see that. And then in the last year, it was 4.3 and now it's 2.2 and it went down half because why?
Because as we get further into 2027, construction ramps up, we get bigger invoices and we pay out more cash. That reserve goes down, so we make less interest.
So we make less interest. Yeah. Okay, those are the only questions I had. I just also wanted to give my condolences to the Hanabusa family, and you know, we all felt it, and we're grateful for Colleen and all the service that she did while she was on HART. And I know you guys also sent out your condolences, but you know, we do appreciate her. She was from the West Side, and so I appreciate what she did where she could, lifted where she could. So thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Councilmember.
Thank you, Councilmember Tupola. I'd just like to welcome to the chamber Councilmember Dos Santos Tam, Floor Leader Kia Aina.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Not related to your presentation, but related to any funding coming out of HART as it relates to Bill 60 with regard to any potential extension. I just want to make clear that, you know, I still do not support any current efforts to go past Ala Moana because we have 2 more segments, but very interested as you guys are planning in your budget for the west side because it could be immediate. The need is immediate, yeah, to at least go to Kamakana Ali'i, and the fact that you have a State Department willing to work creatively with the private sector to fund that section, as well as a housing development, I think is worth looking into. And I just wanted to also mention that in a recent visit to Washington, D.C. with other county officials, in our meeting with Senator Schatz when it came to Honolulu, that is the only question that he asked us about and wanted to know a little bit more what the thought pattern was. And I shared, contrary to media reports, and Councilmember Cordero confirmed that there were no locations identified in the actual bill, and that the council would be working collaboratively with you on any planning efforts, and no funding was allocated. So I just wanted to flag for you guys at the appropriate time, whenever you guys interface with the Hawaii delegation or Senator Schatz, because he raised it, to just keep him informed and make sure he has the accurate information so that people don't think that a funding request is coming down the pipeline and to just let them know what the facts are, okay?
Thank you, Councilmember. Absolutely.
Thank you, Councilmember Kia, and Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Thank you, Chair. I don't know if anyone covered this before, but I wanted to go to slide 8, which deals with the funding sources. You're anticipating an 8% increase in TAT and Oahu TAT receipts for this year. 2 days ago, we heard from Budget and Fiscal Services about their concerns about sort of the softening tourism market. We're seeing that reflected in our real property tax revenues from hotels and B&Bs. Is this 8% increase in TAT, how confident are you in that estimate? And if that's not realized in the way that it would, and let's say we only collect equivalent to last year's amount, that leaves us out, $14 million. What do we do in that case?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Council Member. We're aware of the recent trends in GET and TAT collections. TAT has recently, over the past several months, come in lower than what we have anticipated in our financial plan. Fortunately, GET has come in higher, and so there's kind of an offsetting effect with that. We're not overly concerned at this point, but it is something that we're keeping an eye on. We got, for example, the other day, we received information from the State Department of Taxation about how for the first, I'm going to get the exact number wrong, so please don't quote me, but for the first 7 months of fiscal year 27, compared to the first 7 months of fiscal year 26, state GET revenue was up 5.8%. I think it was 5.8, it might have been 5.6, but I think it was 5.8%. So that you can see here, that's outpacing what we're projecting. And because GET is such a large component of our state revenue, that could offset a lot of the deficiency that we experience on the TAT side. But again, it's something we're keeping an eye on. I'll also mention too that since we adopted our revised financial plan with the adoption of the 2022 recovery plan, and with that financial plan, there was a projection basically from 2022 through the end of the planned project scope in 2030. We've been, with the exception of the most recent couple of quarters, we've been outperforming that financial plan. We've been getting more money than we had thought we were going to get in simple terms. And so we have a little bit of a cushion in our construction fund that we can weather, that will allow us to weather some of these short quarters. So if we experience a period of a couple of quarters of lower than projected funding funds from the state, we can handle it. But if it goes on for an extended period, obviously that's a concern. And again, something we're keeping an eye on right now. But because of the cushion we have, we're not super concerned at this moment.
And then on slide 3, I wanted to ask about, I don't know if you covered this, there's an increase in principal payments, a decrease in debt payments. Is that simply a product of us paying down the principal more leads to less interest?
That's correct. Yeah, so it's an important point actually, and something I should have mentioned, which is that all of our outstanding debt is going to be fully retired by 2030, by the time to the end of the current plan project scope. So the construction part will be fully paid for. As we get closer to 2030, the way that this debt and these maturities are structured, we proportionally increase the amount we're paying on the principal versus the interest. And so that's why you see that dynamic.
And are we anticipating taking out any additional bonds or other debt products this fiscal year?
Not this fiscal year, and no GO bonds until the end of the current plan project. We've requested for some funds for tax-exempt commercial paper, which is just short-term debt that we would have to retire in 270 days, and that would allow us to weather times of low liquidity as we ramp construction up. Bigger bills start coming in, more cash starts coming out the door. If we need something to bridge a low point in cash, we have tax-exempt commercial paper to do that. But I mentioned earlier that at least for 27, we don't anticipate needing to use commercial paper.
Okay, that's an important statement, not anticipating using the commercial paper. I think that's really positive. If you were to need it, has the interest rate environment negatively affected the pricing of the commercial paper?
It has. I mean, it's subject to market rates, like the same way all debt is. It's a little bit higher than it has been in the past 5 years, but historically, it's relatively low.
Thank you, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam. I just had a couple of follow-up questions before we go to any second round questions. Thank you so much for being here. First thing I want to say is it was a pleasure to hear. I don't think we've ever heard this. If we have, it's not often, that you eliminated a position because it was vacant. Thank you for doing that. I think that that's something we've been struggling with from many departments. So to hear that you're doing that, thank you. And I hope that other departments can follow that example. I will say, just for my purposes, I was punching numbers, and it would have been, if there's a way, just when you had the total labor costs budgeted on slide 3, I was looking at the numbers. For me, it would have been easier to see that statement, that little bullet point on slide 6, because those are the numbers that match it. When you have that 1.3 million decrease of 252,000 for fiscal year 27 versus 26, the numbers on this slide where I was just doing some crazy math, so it would have been helpful to see that on slide 6.
I see what you're saying. Yep.
Just maybe that's just me, but that would have been helpful. And my only other question, I think I was wondering about, on your slide, is this 9, where you did mention the Pearl Highlands Transit Center and access ramp, that those funds were budgeted but not encumbered. What was the reason for the increase, about 7.8 million for the budget from 26 that didn't get encumbered to 2027? Is that just expected?
Yeah, I'll look at my team real quick, but I think
Okay.
it was mostly related to a revised construction cost estimate. They are not paying attention.
Okay. Well, if you could,
The year-over-year increase for Pearl Highlands, like the increase.
it looks like
Yeah.
it's about 7.8,
So a
about almost 8 million.
revised budget for construction.
And that's just due to labor and
Yeah.
material costs?
Yeah, yes.
8 million,
yes.
okay. Okay, thank you for answering those questions. We'll go through round 2. Chair Waters, you're good. Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you. I forgot to look at my staff's notes, my bad. Deputy Director O'Keefe, I just wanted to ask about Shop and Dine on the line. First off, thank you very much for assisting our Dillingham neighbors with that. I was wondering how and where I can see that budgeted. Is that going to be increasing with the full steam ahead for the rest of segment 3? Moving forward? And also, are there going to be any other efforts to increase outreach? Because I know that, we have the flyers. I know that it's promoted, I think, on the radio, or it's on radio. But it's also brought to the neighborhood boards. But just more visibility, as well as directional visibility, right?
Yeah.
Is that, I know that may not be on heart, but maybe specifically the contractors that are working in the area, just because, get plenty of visual pollution already with the cones and everything. Just want to make sure that people know, like, I'm just going to use Chuck E. Cheese because that's the last one that we talked about, right? The Chuck E. Cheese is open. So that's all.
Yeah, I mean, so Shop and Dine on the line, for example, that's something that our public involvement team works on. So no budget for that. It's just kind of part of their promotion and outreach efforts. So businesses along the alignment are welcome to contact us if they'd like to participate in the course of our going out and walking along Dillingham,
Right.
walking along Nimitz, and talking to businesses. We offer that as well. So we get requests to do that when we're out in the field. But yeah, in terms of outreach and public involvement, so we're intently focused on that. We work very closely with the company who's building Segment 3, Tudor
Right.
Perini. They have their own public outreach consultant who does a lot of boots on the ground, a lot of field work, developing flyers for alternative routes when construction impacts ingress and egress at certain properties, working with property owners on their concerns and how we can accommodate it. So your point's very well taken, and something that we anticipate we're going to have to increase doing as utility relocation work winds down and actually the columns and
columns,
stations start
yes.
coming out of the ground.
Yeah, and especially when it's eliminated now, but when the no left turns are really no more, like for real
Yes.
kind.
Yes.
So I do have a question. I'm not trying to say that it's like not worth the PI time, but I'm just saying, like, if it's I don't want to say if it's minimal. If it's minimal in that sense, is there a way then that we can look to, and I know BFS may not be here, but like, BFS is struggling to release transit construction mitigation funds. If HART were to maybe work with BFS to see if those transit construction mitigation funds can then be utilized for those businesses to, instead of getting relief, but do their own PI or marketing to help with directions and letting the public know that they're open. I don't know. We probably got to change some
No,
stuff.
I mean, it's an excellent observation and kind of timely too. It's something that we've started collaborating more with the city on. So we've
okay.
started holding regular meetings with the Office of Economic Revitalization, who's out there in the community, and I think is kind of an advocate for the transit construction mitigated fund. So we've been holding meetings with them to update them on where the construction impacts are going to be, not just like generally along Dillingham, but like on this block, in this street, in this area, in this specific area, so that they can, with that information, they can go to the businesses in that area and say, hey, it's coming. Here's what resources we have available to you to kind of mitigate any impacts.
That's true. And
Yeah.
I do have to say, I mean, even with Shop and Dine on the line, available back when it went through Waipahu and Pearl City and IAEA, I do know there were lessons learned. So Dillingham, I'm not saying it's smooth, like physically and actually literally with the businesses, but I'm just saying that at least there's better communication with the businesses and HART and your contractors and everyone working so hard. So I appreciate the team. I definitely remember and recall the differences, and especially with all the IAEA businesses and Pro City businesses that were super up in arms like 15 years ago. It's definitely different now. So thank you and your team. Just want to say that. Mahalo, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Cordero. Councilmember Tupola, Councilmember Kia Aina, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us and for taking our questions.
Mahalo, thank you.
Moving on, let's see. Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, moving on to agenda item number 2, Executive Capital and Operating Budget Review. We'll again proceed first with testimony. Clerks, do we have any in-person testifiers for this item?
Chair, there are none.
Proceeding now with remote testimony. Clerks, do we have any remote testifiers for this item?
Yes, Chair, we have one standing by.
Okay, I believe we have Raquel Achu online. Aloha, good morning, Raquel.
Hi, good morning. Sorry, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning. Raquel Achu, Wailua Moku. Just wanted to submit comment regarding DPP budget. I did submit written testimony, and just briefly, I will add that I'm hoping that in this budget session, there's opportunity to provide resources, funding resources for an enforcement component to the department in working very closely with Director Apuna and her team. They've absolutely warranted the consideration to get the resources that are needed to impact the issues that we face every day. Otherwise, we're just chasing in circles. So I'm hoping that we have room to support them in that manner, and I'm happy to support it any way possible and answer any questions. Mahalo.
Thank you very much, Ms. Achu. Members, do we have any questions for the testifier? Thank you. Clerks, do we have any other online testifiers?
Oh, Chair, there are none.
Thank you. We will now proceed with the Executive Capital and Operating Budget Review. First, before us, we have the Department of Transportation Services. For your information, the presentation is available online as Departmental Communication 183-2026. And this morning, we have from the DTS Department, Director Roger Morton, as well as Deputy Director Hong Lee. Thank you so much for being here, Director Morton, and your team. Looking sharp this morning, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. For the record, Roger Morton, Department of Transportation Services. Well, and we're happy to make this presentation to you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the council. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my very good-looking staff behind us here. We do this once a year, really out of respect for the council for this important meeting. But I wanted just to acknowledge them. My Deputy Director, Hong Lee, our Director of Transit, John Nuuchi, our ASO, Chris Ovid, Transportation Mobility Chief, Eileen Mark, supported by her staff, Kelly Akasaki and Tricia Malloy. In our Rail Division, Stephen Nevis, supported by his staff, Glenn Chenin, Amelia Clower, and Fred Prude. And our Complete Streets, of course, we have Renee Espial. In Traffic Engineering, we have the fabulous Kelly Akasaki, Craig Chung. In Traffic Technology, we have a new face, Mike Sabino, who is taken over for Ty. And in our Transportation Performance and Development group, we have Chris Clark and Ian Crittenden to be available if there are any technical questions. We're going to go through a presentation first to do that, and then, of course, we'll be looking forward to answering questions that any of the council has. So first, our first slide, next slide, please. It just shows our overall budget situation on our operating side. Our budget is about it is $501 million. That's $500 million. That's a large number. It's broken up into different segments. Our DTS support staff is $25 million. Our OTS, the bus and handy van, is $351 million. And Skyline for next year is budgeted at $123.9 million. Taking a look at it a slightly different way on the next slide, we're going to break it down by division. In our administration division, we have 26 positions. We have a total budget of 18.185, including 2.889 million for salaries. Transportation technology, transportation signals, really, is 39 positions. A total budget of 7.1 million for signal technology, broken up by roughly even in salaries and in current expenses. Traffic engineering section has 32 positions. It has a total budget of 4.1 million, including mostly salaries with about $1 million of current expense. In the transportation performance and development, our planning group, we have 3.2 million in total budget, comprised of 1.8 million in salaries and 1.4 million in current expenses. Our newest division, Transportation Rail, has 38 positions now. That includes the blue-collar staff that is responsible for the grounds and for the stations maintenance. Our salaries there are approximately 3.5 million. Our current expenses are 105 million. We'll get into that a little bit more, but that comprises a number of rail activities. The larger ones are our contract with Hitachi, which is 77 million. Expenditures for electricity, which is 13.5 million. Significant expenses for elevator maintenance in the $8 million, elevator escalator maintenance in the $8 million range, as well as funding for security, funding for insurance, and other things. And happy to answer any of the detailed questions when we get done on that. In our mobility division, this is our bus and our handy van operation. We have a total budget of $360,418,000. Overall, our budget increase this year is about 2.9% greater than the appropriation for FY26. Next slide talks a little bit about budget issues. Budget issues are a confusing name, but basically these are activities that are really new activities that we haven't really operated in the past, and we identify them as budget issues. In our administration side, we are still trying to recruit our senior chief safety and security officer. We have some leads on that, but they are coming in at higher than our normal civil service salaries, and so we're budgeting there for some retention, recruitment expenses as well. Also in our administration, we have $1,350,000 to fund our revenue service manager position, and let me explain that portion too. Our contract with Ulu High Tech will expire during the budget year, and we will be rebidding it out. Now, in the event that we have a new contractor, our system is so complicated that we are budgeting for a 3-month shadowing period for whoever would be a new contractor in that. I'm happy to answer that question later on. Finally, in our traffic engineering section, we have an issue that we're buying more supplies and things like delineators and issues like that, all for traffic safety. And in our transportation rail, we are paying rent to D.R. Horton. It's kind of an in and out rent because our agreement with them is that they own, we have a temporary park and ride there. They own the land, and basically the agreement is we're covering the property tax that they would otherwise pay as D.R. Horton. So we pay that, and it comes back to the city because they pay the property tax. So it's a kind of an in and out expense to compensate D.R. Horton for letting us use their land for a park and ride at Ho'opili. Next slide. Our vacancies, good news on our vacancies is I think that we are at the lowest vacancy rate that we've had as long as I've been here for sure, and longer I think. But we have 31 vacancies, the majority of which we hope to fill this fiscal year. But they're scattered throughout our division. The other good news is that recently we have been more successful in hiring engineers. Part of that I attribute to the higher engineer scale that the city has put out for all engineers. Next slide is just taking a look at where our overtime comes from. We have most of the overtime, as you can see, goes into the transportation technology. And there's two components of that overtime. One component is our staffing for events such as parades, ho'olaleas, and other things like that. And the other part of that is when we send out our crew to do overtime work in traffic signals. They're on call 24 hours a day. There's on-call pay. There's overtime pay. And just to give you an example of where that kind of thing was, yesterday at about 5:30, I received a call from EMS that they had a communication cable cut maliciously. Our crew mobilized almost immediately, got out there by 8 p.m. and by 11, they had respliced a fiber optic cable, required them to go up in a bucket truck and do it on a high, on the high side. That's the resilience of the crew, really. But to have that capability, that's where the bulk of the department's overtime comes from. Next one is our revenues for that. The revenues show an increase that's largely from the fare increase that we passed. But I would note also, anyway, I'm happy to talk about that. That's a $3.5 million increase over what we were projecting for this year. In our federally funded positions on the next slide, we only have one federally funded position right now. If as times get tougher and budgets get tighter, we may choose to allocate more funding for some positions that could be federally funded. Normally, our federally funded, our federal funds for this are used to hire contractors and consultants, but we do have the option to do a detailed time accounting and to charge some of the costs to our federal grants. In terms of our federal grants that we are receiving, this is just for our operating budget. We have 120,000 in our budget for for building management, really, of the Joint Traffic Management Center. Oh, pardon me, for Chameleon, for our software program that connects all of our traffic cams together. And in mobility, we have 21 million federal funds that we essentially apply toward maintenance in our bus system. And it's essentially an operating subsidy that we are allowed to use for federal funding. Moving to our capital budget, first of all, we have procurement of major equipment. This is all, this equipment is all within our bus division. It's all going to be OTS equipment used in their yards for maintenance. Next slide would show the CIP projects that we have in our FY27 budget. That comes to a total of about $70 million of projects on the 2 pages. And then we also have projects that are included, are budgeted by DTS, but that are included in DDC's budget, and that amounts to 61 million. So our total capital budget is roughly 156 million for that. That's our operating budget snapshot, and I'm happy to answer questions at this point.
Thank you so much, Director Morton, for your presentation. Members, we will start this round of questions off with Committee Vice Chair Nishimoto.
Thank you. Good morning. Just a couple of questions. When I was going through your budget, I noticed that the traffic safety program line item disappears. Was that moved to somewhere else?
We definitely are going to be spending more in traffic safety for this budget than we've had in the last budget. Some of the programs do change from time to time, and sometimes the names change on the programs as well. But traffic safety is not going away.
Okay, so I think in the last budget you had $500K in general funds, $100K in highway funds. How much do you plan on spending for this kind of stuff total? Do you know?
I don't. I'll look to my staff to see if they have a good answer. Renee will come and give you that one.
And also where the funds will be, where they put, I guess.
Okay. Renee Espio, Complete Streets Administrator. The $100,000 in this year's operating budget is used for quick build safety improvements that are very similar to the $250,000 that are the budget issue request for next year. This year we are using the funds for projects on Waialae Avenue and Ku'ulei Road. We have Waialae and 4th. We have an uncontrolled crosswalk there that is quite unsafe. We are putting in a quick build pedestrian refuge island and a solar rectangular rapid flashing beacon. We also I'll go to Ku'ulei Road. We have a similar condition where we are working on putting in a traffic signal, but we have some very long crosswalks right adjacent to kind of downtown Kailua and Kailua Elementary School, and we are going to be putting in pedestrian islands there. The $500,000 that's in the budget was a council ad for us to kickstart implementation of the 20-mile-per-hour school zones. And so we are using some of that funds to implement the 20-mile-per-hour signage where we're doing those quick build projects. So Waialae Avenue, as you guys know, there's 4 or 5 schools kind of in a row, so we're going to be changing the speed limit along there. And then since we already have a project at Ku'ulei Road fronting Kailua Elementary, we're going to be changing the speed limits there. There is still going to be about $400,000 that we are trying to encumber for the 20-mile-per-hour signs through a master agreement that should be going out to bid soon. In-house staff, our transportation engineering group, is developing those plans in-house. We have spent most of the year prioritizing those locations. We've talked about them with you guys, coming up with our standard detail of what those sign changes look like, and we hope to be able to encumber most of that funds for the sign changes. Does that answer the question?
Yep, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
One further question. In the administration budget, it seems like guard and security services have gone up like 30%. What is that for?
That's our L2 security for our rail system.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Nishimura. Chair Waters.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I really appreciate how sharp you all look. It hasn't gone unnoticed. Thank you. Also want a special thank you to Renee Espiau, Complete Streets Administrator, for coming to the Waikiki Neighborhood Board last night. And I just want to say that whenever any of you come to the neighborhood boards, it's really, really appreciated because it shows the hard work that you all are doing. And she did a really good job last night explaining the projects in Waikiki. Although controversial, she did really well. I wanted to talk about revenues. So we generate about 50 million in revenues overall. This doesn't include federal funding, right?
No, this is system-generated revenue.
Yeah, I mean, it might be helpful just to let us know how much federal funding DTS gets, because from my memory, you folks generate probably the most federal revenue than any other department.
Yeah, from an operating perspective, we are allocating 21,120,000 of that. We are limited by FTA rules on how much we can allocate toward operations using federal funds. Most of our federal funds are in bridges, Alapono, they're in capital projects. And we have significant, we probably have, I looked at Chris Clark, something in the 300 million or 400 million range. How much? Okay, you want to come up and say? Just, I didn't hear that. I don't think they heard it either. Overall, what's the backlog?
304 million over the period.
All right, 300 to 400 million over the period is what we have in federal funding. Not all of that will be programmed for this year because it takes time to get a project together, but that's the war chest that we have right now.
If your overall proposed budget is 501 million, are you saying 300 million of that is federal funding?
No, most of that would be a transfer to the transportation fund. Most of that money would be from either property tax from the general fund or transportation or an allocation of transportation highway fund.
Okay. Back to revenues though, bus advertising, 135,000. You know, like myself and Councilmember Cordero have been kind of on you guys about bumping that up. This is a really good opportunity to generate more revenue. So what can you tell us? What are you doing to do exactly that?
We do have some opportunities in the stations. The real money is in exterior advertising, for which we have made periodic forays, usually have not come to fruition for that. The Sacrosanct Outdoor Circle and others are opposed to exterior advertising, and so we haven't done it. But that's where the real transit advertising potential is. We are also exploring some naming rights. We're not really pretty far down the road, but there may be potential to have our airport station named after one of the major airlines and things like that. But again, we have not really gotten too far down the road, but there is sponsorship opportunities in those areas.
Yeah, I can see that, and thank you for acknowledging that you really aren't doing anything about that. I mean, it sounds like it. You're acknowledging that it's possible, but if we can just encourage you to step that up a bit, especially with Skyline. I think there's an opportunity with Skyline advertising as well. Your projected revenue for Skyline is doubled. So is that because you're projecting more ridership?
Yeah, I think the forecast for next year, the forecast for this year was probably a little underestimated. It turns out that we are getting more, but that's the appropriation. The estimate for next year is an allocation of the system revenue that we're going to get based on the number of taps.
I see. And speaking of rural, 123.9 million is operating costs for Skyline. How are we paying that? Is that being absorbed by the taxpayer?
In large measure, it would be absorbed by the taxpayer. I think the amount of the passenger paying for that is probably the 3 to 4% range.
Right. Okay. Any federal funds that we can utilize to go towards that so that the Honolulu taxpayer isn't bearing most of the brunt on that?
Not at this time, and federal policy is more unlikely to do that under the current administration. They're focusing on capital programs more than they are on operating programs. We have got beyond the level where you really can apply money to operating. I think that level is areas 200,000 or less.
I see. As far as the bus is concerned, doesn't the federal government help subsidize our bus system?
Again, there's 21 million that we allocate toward operations.
Okay, of federal funds?
Of federal funds, yeah.
Okay, so they'll help us with the bus, but they won't help us with the rail?
They would help us with either, but they look at it as a citywide multimodal system. So currently, in order to do that, we need to certify the maintenance payrolls and the maintenance parts. We only are looking for 21 million, and the bus more than has more than those kind of expenses. So there's the maximum is really the limiting factor, the 21 million.
I see. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair Waters. Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you, Chair Okimoto. I'll just focus on one topic for the first round, and just want to focus on HOLO. I noted here that you folks are going out for reprocurement for HOLO system, or HOLO cards, I mean. And with that, I see that the $1,350,000 is also for 3 months holdover, or
foreshadowing.
Shadowing?
It's a complex project and it's foreshadowing, but we're going to be looking at all alternatives for HOLO. We may absorb some of those functions internally. We may change the scope of work for a contractor. So we're going to be looking at all options. But in the event that with the same contractor wins, there's no need for shadowing. So it's only if we have to have back-to-back with period of time to learn how the system works. But it is something that I hope to be able to modernize a little bit and to maybe make it more efficient and reduce the cost.
Okay, and will this allow for other debit and credit cards to also be in place of the HOLO? Sorry, I know actually that's not where my question was going, but I'll ask that first.
Yeah, that's it. That program is already underway with current funding, and we will be kicking off that meeting this month over implementing that credit card use instead of HOLO card,
Okay.
And we anticipate about a 9-month implementation.
Okay, I understand. Thank you. And so it's not going to be a whole new system and a whole new master agreement to then allow for that use?
We go through more than 300,000 HOLO cards a year,
Yeah.
and a lot of that is the visitors. So if we can not have to have them get a HOLO card, that's a good thing. And we can just reduce the number of cards that we do, and they can use a credit card. For our local folks, especially for our discounted fares, I don't foresee them using credit cards for that. HOLO works fine
makes
for
sense.
that. for seniors, for disabled, for low-income people. But for trying to modernize our fare system, we have an ongoing project right now.
Okay, I understand. So the reason why I asked about that $1,350,000 is because that it says that it's for a revenue services manager contract for reprocurement, but then we have $1 million for a new master agreement for HOLO. So if it's procurement and then a new master agreement, wouldn't it? I mean, it's good that you have it in two different line items. It shows that you're being specific there. But I was wondering, it's not inclusive in one act?
I think the $1 million is HOLO cards.
Oh, itself?
Yeah, it's HOLO cards. And they're, as I say, we use about 300,000 a year. They're $225 a piece or something. So that's just for the cards. And again, that number will go down drastically when we enable open payments.
I see. Okay, because when it says a new master agreement of $1 million for HOLO cards, I understood that as like a whole new different conditions or contract for HOLO cards. So that's my mistake, but thank you for your clarification. I also then want to note that HOLO telecommunications and assistance is also synced up with the Skyline system call center. Is there possible plans to join that with just transit in general, including the bus?
I'm not sure I fully understand the question.
Okay, so there's $75,174 for the, I don't know if it's a contract or if it's for a position, but it's for Skyline phone system, call center, and HOLO telecommunications. And I know that DTS is working hard to all encompass HOLO for all transit use, and of course for other uses as well in the future. But because of that, I was wondering if we're going to include the bus, Skyline, and HOLO under one number. I know me and my staff, I think Dina here, we were just talking about like, oh, there's plenty like transit apps that I even alone have on my phone that we're utilizing, let alone, the bus number, and then as well as like the Skyline and HOLO card number. Yeah, just wanted to know if it's going to consolidate.
I think that makes more sense. The contract to run Skyline was let many years ago, and it includes a customer service component in there. So part of the amount that we pay them, which is a fixed price contract, includes that customer service. I would like to figure out a way to integrate them together as well, but at this point we don't. And then there's also some, we could have some union discussions over why are the people under the bus contract handling communications. I think we could probably get past that, but the bigger problem is we're already paying for it in the price that that was made out for the contract, and it doesn't. I don't want to, if I could figure out a way to integrate the two and then get a credit for what we're paying, that would be perfect. But I don't want to get to tell you that that's an easy process.
Thank you. I just wanted to keep it to that one topic for this round, but I'll definitely be asking about traffic signal controls as well as different roadway designs later. So thank you, Chair Okimoto. I'll yield my time.
Thank you, Councilmember Cordero. Vice Chair Tupola.
Hey, aloha, Director. Thank you, everyone from DTS, for being here. I just wanted to piggyback on that HOLO conversation. I mean, I'm not the only person that thinks it's pretty difficult with the HOLO card, so I hope you guys find a better system, contractor, whatever you're looking for. So I'm in favor of that. Thank you for explaining the compliance that you guys are doing with Ho'opili. And then on the filled vacancies of trying to fill 22 by June, you think that's realistic?
My ASO tells me he's going to do it.
Really? Wow.
We have a lot of positions that are through the interview process or ready to go to those. 22, I mentioned to him during our break here that, boy, that's pretty aggressive for getting all of those done. But we're going to attempt to fill those positions.
Yeah, no, I like when the departments can get realistic because it is March and we are saying by June we would do such a thing. I think single digits is realistic, but 22, pretty optimistic. I do think that this is the lowest I've ever seen your vacancy, so we're still celebrating that. But however it turns out in June, maybe then you guys can gauge in what time frame it actually takes to fill vacancies. In regards to the comments made by Chair Waters about generating revenue, because HART turns over their operations to you guys, are you guys in charge of, like, when the parking lot is constructed and finished, are you then in charge of the parking lot?
Yes.
Perfect. So what we need is overnight parking, $7 a night, and then you can catch the rail to the airport. Because if we did it for one lot at about, I don't know, 400 cars, depends on the size, we could generate 1.5 million a year. And this would really help. If you guys did 4 lots, if we kept the one that UH built instead of giving that back and then making R1, if we kept both of those, if we had 4 to 6 lots inside that corridor in Kapolei, you guys could generate 6 million a year.
I think currently, we are filling up our lots. I mean,
it's well used.
Yeah, they're well used. They're spilling over onto the grassy areas. We're dealing with UH on that. Ho'opili has a little bit of capacity, but not much. Maybe it's 3/4 filled. But when HART builds those 2,300 stalls, I think that we can take a look at doing that at some rate, and if we do that overnight rate, the Ed charges about $30 a day at the airport for.
Oh, it's pricey
for parking. We wouldn't charge that, but we would charge a reasonable amount if we were to do that. It's something that we will look into as we get more park and ride capacity. But right now, our priority is that the commuters should be prioritized for the park and rides. I know that we've monitored them. There are a handful of cars that look like they are already doing that, but our technical rules are that you must move your car within a 24-hour period. We're not allowing overnight parking.
Yeah, no. Understood. I'm suggesting that it'd be a future move that we try to do. I just think it makes the most sense. And I think for usage, even just rail usage, it's going to increase exponentially. So I do understand you guys are monitoring. I think we could even pilot it out with one lot to start off with. Then we can gauge how many people use that lot for daily commuting, like how many people use the other 2. I also suggested that we could possibly partner with the Croc. I mean, they do have an open field that we use for parking for all of their big events that they do for DHHL. I mean, it could advantage their operation as well if they offered parking for the rail because they're right there at the rail station. So is there someone specific that kind of is just over maybe advertising and revenue generation for just the rail?
No, I mean, my staff member, Puni, covers a lot of that, and most of that is just for the rail. That's not his entire job description, but he is, and John, of course, always has a million good ideas on how to do it. And we are looking at this, going out to third parties that own parking lots that are underutilized and seeing if we can arrange for some additional parking in some of those lots. We haven't got anything definitive done yet, but we are looking actively, and we've had discussions with some landowners with parking lots. I mean, there's some shopping centers, there's some stuff, and so part of it is a lot of these places want to have the spaces available for 2 weeks during the Christmas season, right? That's when the malls fill up. But the rest of the year, there's a lot of space in a lot of those places. So we have some discussions going on.
Yeah, I think if there could in the future budget maybe determine whether or not you guys need a dedicated position to just discussing revenue generation or advertising that you guys might need? Because it's a whole thing. I mean, I think it could be not just someone's side job, but someone's permanent job, because I think operating it, all the other things that John does, I mean, he does a good job, but I think having someone dedicated to it, because there's a lot of people that have approached me, but then this person can kind of like weed out ideas that are best suited, which ones need to be funded, how much it would revenue it would generate, and then what help you guys need from us.
Within our budget, we do have a dedicated vacant position for a mobility innovation manager, which would have those job duties.
Oh, so you guys are trying to hire for that person?
Yes.
See if Dita has a twin. Yeah, go find someone just like her and like, you're the one. So thank you so much, Director. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Tupola. Councilmember Kia-Aina.
Director, I cannot say enough about your team. You know, we talk about quality of life for all of the departments, but, you know, I feel like so many members of your team have been there with us in nitty-gritty discussions with the community. It's not easy, so I just want to show appreciation. Earlier this week, you were one of the agencies that I flagged for a gold star verbally for your consideration of our time in preparing for not just the budgetary cycle, but for the upcoming year. And I did want to highlight your the information that you gave to our 1-hour briefings for each council member. I hope you share it with the managing director's office, because I feel that despite the bubble report, we could use this for DDC, ENV, DFM, and DPR, because it's hard for us to track all of our things, yeah? So greatly appreciate it. So I'm just gonna make a couple of comments, and then I actually have an easy question at the end. I know you know the answer. So, you know, I use this time to talk about things that are important to me, because that's my job, to fight for my constituents. So I just wanna, let's start with Kailua. I know that you were not successful in securing the $500,000 I needed for implementation of the Lanikai Transportation Management Plan. So I just simply wanted to let you know that I'm going to fight tooth and nail for it, because the current situation is unsustainable. I believe that in upgrading the side streets to make it legal, that will mitigate some of the challenges that we have with parking. So I just wanted to say that on Lanikai, and also I might need your kokua for identifying land. People have sent me them for an exit strategy similar to what we're doing on Wainaya in case of fire or emergency purposes. I talked to the DOT director, who said that instead of acquisition, perhaps we could start with an easement. So I just want to let you know that. Triangle Park I raised yesterday, but you guys also have a little kuleana because it was related to your project. I just asked for your kokoa to work with the DPR director. Kaneohe, thank you so much for the long-awaited improvements for Kamehameha Highway, which is in the throes. It's going to be a very difficult project. People have to have patience. But I wanted to flag Kea'ahala Road and Pahia Road. I appreciated your explanation with regard to the federal funding, but I need to let you know that whatever you guys could do, I said that to DFM, I need help there. These are high priority projects for Kaneohe. And of course, Waimanalo, I'm looking forward to the speed mitigation measures on Hihimanu, that you get the contract out. Laumilo is in the works. I look forward to your map so that I can go and get the requisite percentage of numbers needed for the petition to move it forward. And I think that's just my wiki survey of my district. My question has to do with federal funding. Now that the managing director has a team, I know that you guys have been way ahead of the curve. What is the status? You cited like $200 million for discretionary grants, I believe, last year. What is the status of your on your securing federal discretionary grants?
We have received some discretionary federal grants. We received a reconnecting communities for our pedestrian bridge at the Waiava station. That's we're allocating 32 million in federal funds for that. About a week ago, we received, I think, 9-point-something million in bus and bus facilities discretionary grants. We do have an application for a planning grant for the Build community, the Build project. That's a planning grant one. And we will aggressively go after any federal funding opportunity that we see. We have coordinated with the MDO's office over working with that team, and that's they're very helpful. And we make our best to make sure that they are aware of, we back and forth. They tell us what are available grants, and we tell them what grants that we're looking for. And we also reach out to other departments, particularly DDC, and commend them to go for a grant, which we've helped them in the past to do that, but they are now actively seeking grants as well.
Thank you for your update. And of course, I know you guys would be seeking support later strategically, whether it be for that or earmarks by the congressional delegation. So that's all my questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Councilmember Kiana.
Thank you for your very kind comments about this Akamai staff behind us too.
Councilmember DeSantis Tam.
Thank you. I want to turn first to slide 8 on the federal funded salaries. The description notes that DTS will seek reimbursement after the fact if city salaries are fundable by federal grant sources. This slide is basically the same also as last year's slide. So last year, did we receive any reimbursement from the federal government for salaries that are attributable to grants? And
we are this year.
And ballpark, how much is that?
In ballpark, about 80% of FTE, so maybe 60-something thousand in that ballpark.
Great. And those monies just revert to the general fund since they're not appropriated by us?
Yes, they do. They are paid by us, and then it's a reimbursement system. So we pay it in advance, and then the proceeds do get back to the general fund or to the transportation fund. I need to look to the budget department to determine exactly where they go, but they go back to a fund.
Okay, good. And the reason why I'm asking that is specifically to that note. If your team is being successful in getting federal grants, if we're getting reimbursements for these federal grants, even to pay, some portion of an employee's salary, it should go back to your department and not just get dumped into the general fund where it's just going to sit there and languish and lapse. So I'd like to get clarity on that and see if there's any way that we can incorporate anticipated future grants so you can use that for your needs, because I think that is an important note.
Let me see if my staff has an answer for that right now. I think we might have an answer of where it goes.
Good morning, Councilmember. My name is Chris Clark. I'm the Chief Planner, DTS. So yeah, we do make those claims, and they go back to the fund where the expenditure came from. So if it was highway fund expenditure, then we reimburse the highway fund for that claim. We don't request that those funds be appropriated, just so we can make sure that the position is funded. That way we don't have to worry about personal service contract lapsing and having to go find another person later. So if the funds are appropriated locally, then we can assure that that position exists, we can pay the person. And then sometimes the claim might take a little longer. So it might take 3 months or 6 months, but we need to make sure there's cash to be able to pay the salary. So,
understood. I guess I just want to find some way where it just doesn't sit there and languish, and you guys can put it to work. In last year's budget briefing, and also in the FY25 briefing on the revenue slides, there were notes about marketing opportunities for visitors, as well as Medicaid funding for certain handy van trips. I see that also on this slide. What what tangible progress have you made on exploring these revenue enhancement opportunities, given that they've been on now 3 budget year slides?
Well, let me go to the easy one first, the Medicaid one. This would be, we could, in theory, charge the fully allocated cost for our handy van service for Medicaid-funded trips. It would require Department of Human Services to COCUA with us and change their system. We've chosen not to go after that right now because, frankly, Medicaid is in such a flux that we, number one, don't want to throw them another issue. But number two, it's possible that that will not be allowable in the future, given the magnitude of the administration's treatment of Medicaid. So we don't have it like pushed aside, but we are waiting for clarity on what is going to happen with the Medicaid program. The state Medicaid director has met with us a number of times to discuss it. She's familiar with the issue. It would require a different information system for them, and that is a challenge that they would have to do. So we just haven't pushed it for that reason. For marketing, I don't know if you're aware, but we are advertising on television a lot, and I think it's been a pretty successful campaign. Going forward, the comms team, which is really running that show, has ideas on additional media type purchase, things like that. My definition of marketing for transit is not just advertising, but it's the whole gamut of marketing. It's holo, it's pricing, it's fare, it's all of those things together. And I think we have made good progress on that item.
Okay. I want to also ask about the third bullet point on the revenue slide. Selected increases in fare levels. Having just increased the fares, are we contemplating doing so again in FY27?
In FY27, we have no plans to do it, but I think that over the long haul, fare levels, need to be examined from time to time. We don't have a plan to do it. We have not broached that with the Fare Commission, who would be our first place to propose that. So we're not proposing it for FY27. We have certain other opportunities, though. We just recently negotiated with ASUH to raise the UPass fee from $5 per year for the next 4 years. So that's $5, $10, $15, $20 more. There are a number of bills in the state legislature about funding certain departments or keiki to ride free. And if they do that, we would see that as a revenue opportunity. I would point out that 2 years ago, with the DOE's Express program, we generated a net extra $5 million. Unfortunately, they cut the program back quite a bit, and we don't have that. But there are opportunities like that that are not necessarily the fair level for the individual consumer, but maybe something that a business might want to do to, Queens Hospital or other entities like that. What I like myself is universal coverage by a business where we would negotiate a fare for an entire group of population of a business and turn that into a employee benefit for the business. And we've had some success in doing that.
My next question pertains to the bus and handy van acquisition program. This year's proposed $34.7 million. In FY26, it was $74 million, and in FY25, it was $55 million. Why is the proposed acquisition for bus and handy van this year significantly lower, and in fact, less than 50% of what was proposed last year?
Last year was unusually large, and And for us to buy buses, it is a minimum 3-year process. It's, well, actually 4 years if you count the budget cycle too. So we have to have the budget, then we have to go through a complicated procurement, and now the vendors that make buses are giving us 23, 24-month delivery times after we give them a purchase order. Same as ambulances, same as other heavy equipment. It is something that the manufacturing sector has just changed a lot since COVID.
Okay. Does that negatively impact the number of buses that we're acquiring? I mean, I know that you're constantly needing to do, replacements. It just seems very strange that this year we're asking for half the amount that we asked for last year, and only 60 to 70% of the previous year before that.
I would like to have a 7-year-old average fleet. I have a 12-year-old average fleet right now. Some buses are over 20 years old. And so, it's been a goal for us to try to get that fleet age down.
And isn't the best way to get the fleet age down to acquire more buses, not less?
Again, the prior years gave us we have a procurement for 87 buses right now that has been awarded. So it's a question of balancing it out, and over a long period of time, we can cope with where we are right now. I think that our buses would be more appealing if they were newer, and if they they just look better. Some of them look pretty old and pretty. But those are 21, 20, some of those buses are old enough to drink.
On the revenue slide, page 7, we're anticipating an additional $3.57 million in FY27 versus the previous year. We went through the exercise of raising the bus fares earlier this year, and we were told that it would generate $4 million. Why is this number only $3.5 million? Does this imply that we're anticipating that ridership goes down?
No, our original proposal included increases in other fares like seniors or disabled and other groups like that. And those, during the process, we decided to keep those fares at the same level. And as we do that, the amount of the estimate goes down. But I think by the end of the different versions of the bill, we were stating 3.5.
Are we anticipating ridership to go up in FY27 over FY26?
Yes. I mean, I expect ridership to go up.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember DeSantis-Tam. Councilmember Tolba.
Thank you, Chair. Director, how's it going? Everyone looking awesome? John Uichi, I got a question. Just joking. Anyway, on slide 2, for Skyline, operations is at about $124 million. When we open up the final segment, Director, is there an estimate on what the operations costs will be at that time?
The operating costs are up until 28 are enshrined in a contract. The contract was led in 2011. So those numbers are known, albeit we're 5 years late. So it is very complicated to deal with the contract portion, given that we are later than we thought. But we do have fixed price for at least another 3 years or so.
And that's the price we're paying right now, about $120 million, right?
Yeah, and most of the increases in Skyline are driven by a couple of things, mainly 2 things. One is how many hours that we run the service, and I mean hours in a year. And the other is what are the changes in economic factors, PPI, for labor, for parts, and for other things like that. That's how the current contract escalates. There will need to be a relooking at that sometime in the FY29 timeframe.
Okay. So finding revenue is important, any kind of revenue. So going back to what Council Chair Waters had mentioned about generating revenue through advertising. So what kind of steps can we do here at City Council to help you? I know Outdoor Circle has challenges. I saw your interview, Council Chair, and different ideas we can do, at the station. So what can we do here to help you? And then I have another question.
Well, I think taking a look at the ordinance prohibiting us from doing exterior advertising would be a good first step.
Okay.
And then we will look at the opportunities for Skyline. Most of the revenues we generate from that, the work to do those advertisings are normally contracted out to a vendor. But the more opportunities we give that vendor, the more revenue we will get back. Again, if we did exterior advertising instead of 120,000, maybe we could look at 6 or 7 million. That's where I think the biggest opportunity would be. We are going to, we've wrapped a few buses with Mocha recently. We're going to do a few more for the zoo. These are all city-owned activities. But the other private guys, they make quite a bit of money on advertising. So it's already out there. It's just not out there on a public bus.
All right, so let's talk about that. With advertising, have you guys already looked? I'm pretty sure you guys did. Like, how much other cities, our size, about 1 million, right, make on advertising on public transit?
I've looked at it a number of times, and the numbers are actually part of the NTD reporting system, so it's very easy to do a comparison of 10 other transit systems that look like us.
Give us an example. How much you think? Might not be accurate, but just an example.
I think my estimate of 6 million would be based on what I've seen from other places our size.
Okay.
Having said that, if you look at New York City, that's going to be in excess of 300 million.
Yeah.
But for us, for our size, for eyeballs on the outside are generate more revenue than eyeballs on the inside. That's a reality.
Okay. So we know the challenges and concerns of Outdoor Circle, but at the same time, we got to start getting creative. We're looking at parks, sponsorships. Just in my district alone, and places like the Plantation Village, where it could be, which is run by Enterprise Services, there could be a spot, maybe one day like Polynesian Culture Center on a smaller, scale to help us with revenue. So I hope we get an opportunity, in this coming year to find ways to help, with some of the costs. Okay, thank you.
And as a department, we'd be fully supportive.
Thank you, Councilmember Tolba. Really quick before I go back to round two, a lot of questions I think were asked, and I'm so grateful that you're so willing to meet with my team and I. So I have no further questions. I did just want to thank you and your team. As Councilmember Kiaina mentioned, it's really been a benefit for us, for me and my office, and a pleasure for me. I know some of you get text messages from me while you're in board meetings. So Kelly, John, I apologize, but fair game whenever I communicate. I did want to thank you, because right now we're working on multiple things within the districts, and my district I know has a lot of the concerns that we get from constituents are connected to you guys. So I'm going to continue working with you. If there's ways that we can do some more efficiently, please let us know. But I think having the team that you have before us is, as I said earlier, you guys are sharp. Whatever we can do to help you guys, because a lot of, especially around the schools in my area, there's a lot of concern for kids' safety. So thank you, Director Morton. Thank you for your team. And we look forward to continuing working with you guys. That being said, I will turn it over to round two for questions. Chair Waters. Okay. Councilmember Cordero.
Yes, definitely.
you.
I will ask a few topics. Okay, thank you. I do have a few questions as I wanted to prompt you all since I talked about the holocard topic. I know now we'll go to traffic safety controls or traffic signal controllers. I noted in the budget book, or I noticed in the budget book that the Type 170E controllers are no longer manufactured, right? And because of that, we're trying to procure and utilize other newer controls that then fit into the traffic signal cabinets. Why can't we replace all of that? How much is that going to be? Is that too much?
We are going to start, we have, that contract's been awarded. It's a joint procurement between us and HDOT. It involves about 900 intersections. We're going to be installing.
Hold on, Director.
I'm going to appoint Andrew Tupola as a voting member for quorum purposes. Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Waters. Okay, sorry, Director.
Yes, that project is ongoing. Design, I think, is complete. Yeah. And we're expecting the contractor to start installing cabinets, start installing new equipment. I think our first corridor is going to be in the Waianae side. It's going to be along Farrington Highway. And these new, I mean, you're right, the 170s, you know, you had to go to to the used part market in order to get them, eBay in order to find the parts. But these are state-of-the-art controllers. They'll be the same throughout the island. It doesn't make sense to have different controllers. They're all going to be connected to our Joint Traffic Management Center. We're installing servers there, new servers, to take advantage of these new controllers. And it is really one of the most revolutionary projects in our portfolio right now is upgrading and modernizing those traffic controllers.
So again, I was wondering, we aren't able to just purchase the newer manufactured ones and as well as updating the traffic signal cabinets instead of like looking for newly manufactured lights or controllers that fit into our current traffic signal cabinets. You know, it's like a smaller square. I'm trying to find a newly manufactured square to fit into the squares that we have versus like just buy the whole thing new.
Yeah, we're in large measure, we're not replacing the boxes.
Right, no, that's what I mean.
We're just going to put the new controllers inside the existing boxes. There are other things that, depending upon the corridor, you know, nowadays you have to put in all kinds of sensors and detectors, right? And so, like if you drive along Ala Moana, you'll notice all the cameras that they have at all the intersections. So there will be, this is a large project. It's probably a 5-year duration. And it will have the opportunity to do a lot of new things in traffic signals that we're not able to do today. We can do adaptive traffic control systems. Which means that if all of a sudden on Farrington there's something that happens and traffic just goes wild, we can, in theory, we can react in real time with these controllers and optimize the traffic. But so it's a cutting edge type technology, and it's a game changer for DTS.
Awesome. That would be great. And so that was going to be my next question about how many fiscal years you think that we would start to have to budget for that. And you said 5 years. And then do we know how many will be, because you said it's a partnership with and collaboration with HDOT, how many HDOT will have to shore up versus us as a city?
Well, HDOT has in excess about 200 intersections. But they're doing more for us. They're doing some corridors they're actually doing for us. So it's not just for that. And the other thing in terms of budget, these controller upgrade programs will be, they could be financed at anywhere between 80% to 100% federal funding.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, that's, once we get rolling, and the contractor gets their feet on the ground and starts doing it, we'll evaluate how quickly we can do the program.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. I do have a question. Sorry, does that include RRFBs, rectangular rapid flashing beacons, or does that also just go into the cabinet?
Well, the RRFBs are not connected to our traffic signals usually. And so they tend to be, the ones we're putting in tend to be standalone, solar-powered, pedestrian activated. They're not part of this project at all.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that clarification. I also have a question, also that eBay comment. I was going to laugh at it, then I realized that might be actually real, like real life. We would have to go through eBay to look for those parts. But okay. As for the other traffic safety controls, that includes like stanchions and stuff, yeah? So because we've been putting a lot of the stanchions, and I know through my district, they just get run over real fast. So I know that, and I promise it's not me, but I just was wondering, when are we gonna be able to start designing permanent physical designs for the roads instead of the stanchions and stuff? Oh, I think Renee is coming up.
Yep. I'll pass it to her for that.
Renee, promise. All those ones on North King Street, not me, I promise.
Everything we put out on North King Street just gets obliterated, including our hardwired RRFB that we're working to reinstall, unfortunately. It depends on the corridor. As you guys know, we typically like to put in the delineator posts first because we can do it quicker, we can do it cheaper, and kind of get the safety benefit without waiting for a long capital project. But it certainly depends on the corridor. So North King Street, we are fortunate that we have a bikeway project that our Transportation Engineering Division is helping to implement. We got federal funds for that. As part of that project, we're going to be replacing both the asphalt curb pedestrian refuge islands and the 2 pedestrian refuge islands that have the broken delineator posts with concrete islands. So we do have a capital project for that corridor. We're hoping to go to bid this year on the first segment of that. So it kind of depends on the corridor, but typically we start with something quick build, and then we look to upgrade it at some point with capital project.
Okay, thank you. Okay, quick build, more better than I guess the stanchion. Okay, so relating to Oahu pedestrian plan, which is including traffic safety controls, are we having to spend money on possible easements to then make places with sidewalks that we plan for walking paths? Is that going to be included in DTS's budget for?
So far we have not, but there are places where we might. And so it depends upon, again, the corridor. There's lots of corridors that we're doing right now that are within city or state ownership. And I don't, but there are places where we would need to have easements in order to have sidewalks. But, we'd have to pay for those easements probably too. But so far we don't have any, and we don't have any budgeted easements in the budget right now. Am I right on that?
I have one exception.
Okay, go ahead.
Roger's correct. We typically try to work within the right-of-way to the extent possible, and fortunately we've been able to do that for most of our projects. As you guys know, we did start 6 priority walkway projects across the island. The first, actually this isn't one of our walkway projects, is Keolu Drive, our bikeway project. We have sidewalk improvements we're putting on Wana'au. We have discovered that there's a roadway setback widening that has never been done. So we actually have, like, in some existing signs, maybe a traffic signal, and certainly the proposed sidewalk is still within private property. That is a federally funded project. And so we are starting the process, assuming we're going to have to acquire a sliver of property and go through that process. So I'm sure we'll find more as we continue into design, but that's really a last resort for us.
Thank you. And lastly, is that does it come from your budget to, I guess, effectuate, or will that be in like DDC's
It would go in the project budget.
okay.
You know, we have federalized these projects, so fortunately, the federal government will also pay for 80%.
Okay, you guys are so good with federal funding. Okay, never mind. I shouldn't even think about that. Well, speaking of other kind funding, something that has helped with walkways in different parts of our communities, not in my district, but safe routes, or used to be in my district though, safe routes to school. I know that we were able to have a more functioning walkway paths in the Kahawiki area. So I just wanted to just get a follow-up. Are we still funding safe routes to school, and how is that being supported?
It has changed a little bit from the federal side, but the state is funding safe routes to school. And they've set up a committee to determine competitively which projects would be funded. And it's subject to the release of funding by the governor and by other things. So a little bit is out of our control, although we are working actively to do it. And they'll fund many Oahu projects. They will do that. It is, there are a couple of bills in the legislature that look to alter that recently changed way to allocate funding from safe routes to school. But I think there is a solid support in the state legislature to continue funding. Maybe they'll take a look at how they allocate a little differently.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you, Chair Okimoto, for allowing me to ask these questions.
Thank you, Councilmember Cordero. Councilmember Tupola, Councilmember Kiaina, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Thank you. I wanted to bring up the advertising on the bus and potentially rail. Right now, this is handled by a third-party vendor, correct?
Yes, our third-party vendor is one of the largest Japanese advertisers on transit vehicles in Japan.
What are some of the metrics to measure their success in implementing the advertising on the buses here? Last night, I was on the bus and counted several what you might say are expired ads, things for like signing up for the marathon, which happened in December, or there was one for an event in like October of last year.
I'm not sure. There are some spots that we control as a city. Those can be for nonprofits. There's a certain amount that are reserved, so I'm not sure the ones that you saw, whether they would be under the responsibility of the vendor. But the theory is that the vendors make a profit by getting out on the pavement and selling the space. And it hasn't worked out as well as I would like it to work out. And I do see open spaces on some buses, and I see the same thing that you see. I think we're getting ready to go out for bid. Where's Eileen? Right there. You want to mention that? Okay, she doesn't have information, but from time to time we go out to bid, and that would be when we would be able to add rail opportunities when we go out to bid. I know we've had discussions with the current vendor who would like to do some additional things, and we would like to figure out a way to get those done.
Thank you, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam, Councilmember Toba, Vice Chair Nishimoto. Okay. Thank you so much, Director Morton, and your team for being here and taking our plethora of questions. We look forward to continuing working with you guys.
Thank you all for your very insightful questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, we will be moving on to the Department of Planning and Permitting. Just for a quick note, after the Department of Planning and Permitting, we will be taking a 45-minute lunch break, and I'll state the time at that point in our agenda. And for the members' information, the presentation from DPP is available online as Departmental Communication 184, 2026. Joining us today, and thank you for your patience, we have Director Apuna, Don Takeuchi Apuna, Deputy Director Brian Gallagher, and Second Deputy Director Regina Malepeai. Did I pronounce that correctly? I'm sorry, did I? Okay, thank you so much. Aloha and good afternoon, Director.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Donna Puna, Department of Planning and Permitting. People, processes, and technology. Over the past 3 years, this framework has guided the Department of Planning and Permitting's foundational and organizational transformation. At last year's budget hearing, I spoke about moving from planning to execution, specifically the implementation of our core technology systems, ePlans, H&L Build, and CivChecked AI. Today, those systems are in place and operating, marking an important milestone in modernizing how the city delivers permitting and development-related services. We are grateful for the administration's support, for this council's partnership, and for the hard work of the DPP staff who made this milestone possible. This progress matters because the work of DPP sits directly on the critical path to housing, construction, and everyday improvements that residents make to their homes and businesses. Every project, whether it is a large housing development, a new commercial building, or a homeowner adding solar panels, relies on a permitting system that is predictable, transparent, and efficient. As we look ahead with this proposed budget, we continue to focus on reducing friction in the system, improving service delivery, and helping projects move forward with greater clarity and accountability by refining our processes and strengthening system performance and empowering both staff and system users. Okay. Or maybe, yeah. Sorry about that. So DPP is all about efficiency and streamlining, and we have therefore tightened our operating budget with an overall 5% reduction from fiscal year 2026. For our staff positions, we've added only one additional full-time equivalent position, which is a reactivation of a site development division construction inspector. Of the 395 positions, 383 are permanent and 12 are contract. We have reduced salaries by 4.99% across the board, but making up for it through salary savings of vacant positions. Our expenses are reduced by 6.29% with reductions made to inspector mileage, planning contracts, consolidation of licenses and subscriptions, and travel. Additionally, we have cut $1 million from the Bill 7 grants. In previous years, we were budgeted $5 million. We do receive a state match of these funds, just for clarification. This year, we have no equipment need. Overall, we are demonstrating a more fiscal discipline. Okay, next. Here are our budget issues, which are basically not part of our normal operations. Again, $4 million towards Bill 7 grants. Just an update on Bill 7 projects. We have a total of 58. 6 have been completed, 17 under construction, 35 are under review, permit review, and there's a total potential of 1,752 units. We've already added 189 of those units. As far as the pre-construction grants, we have not awarded any yet, but that program just opened up a few months ago, but we have 3 pending applications. For post-construction grants, we've awarded 6 grants totaling $1.9 million. We have 0 pending post-construction grant applications. The next budget issue is our applications platform administrator, and this is Abe Toma, who is overseeing all of our technology implementation projects. And then lastly is our engineering support tech 2. This is a position we actually had 2 this year under contract that have kind of fill in the gaps for our plan review engineers by providing routing and review of less complex projects. Looking at our vacancies, of the total 394 positions, we have 85 vacancies, which is a 21% vacancy rate. We expect to fill 15 by June 30th in the next 3 months and 35 in fiscal year 2027. The most common vacancies include, again, are just our engineers that review commercial projects, despite salary increases in the recent past. Also, planners, we were in the range of 50 to 60% vacancy, but we were able to get a shortage for those planners in March of 2025, which has helped. And then also inspectors, we do have some shortage in those areas. To address these vacancies, we are doing outreach through job fairs and social media. Again, we're looking at class shortages, downgrading of positions, and we will continue to explore other creative ways to attract and retain staff. I look at our overtime by fund. The general fund overtime of an estimated 8,000 hours and $208,000 is mostly for building permit review by building plans examiners on the residential side and engineers and engineering support techs on the commercial side, all to address building permit backlogs. The sewer fund overtime of an estimated 253 hours and $11,000 in budget is for wastewater and emergency mapping services for the EOC. The highway fund for overtime is an estimated 202 hours and $8,000 for civil engineering branch inspections. This is a further breakdown of overtime by division and administration. That is the mapping for EOC when there are emergencies. Site development, again, site development inspections. Land use permits and planning, that's usually planners going out and doing different presentations outside of normal business hours in the community. And then lastly, at the bottom, customer service and building, that overtime, where the bulk of it, the overtime is for a permit review by building plans examiners and engineers. And I look at our estimated revenues. It's pretty much the same as the previous fiscal year. There's a bump up potentially for short-term rental registration fees, and that may be due to we might begin to start enforcing on registrations of short-term rentals. And then of all other revenues, about a 14% change is expected. And with that, that's our presentation. We're available for any questions.
Thank you so much, Director Apuna. Members, we'll start this round of questions first with Councilmember Cordero.
Thank you, Chair Okimoto. I just have a question as it relates to actually what you just mentioned with the anticipation of an increase for the TVUs. Did you also include new staffing adjustments to allow and or enforcement strategies to increase the collections of those fees or fines?
Specific to short-term rentals?
Yes, correct.
No, so we do have, on the registration side, we have planners for the registration side, and then on the inspection side, we do have vacancies. We're down to 2 investigators, so we do need to fill those vacancies in order to have more enforcement, timely enforcement on short-term rentals.
Thank you. I also have a question about something as it relates to like plans and then long-term planning for those plans. So, for example, the Kapalama Canal Catalytic Project, I know that it was under DPP and then now with, I think, DDC, I believe, or am I backwards there?
I am not sure, but I can get you that answer.
Yeah. I was just wondering about like how we are able to track long-term plans in that manner.
Yeah, I see. So we can provide, updates about where those are at. I know we do it at zoning, but maybe just more periodically where we're at, what the plan is going forward to
Right.
the
I think
scheduling.
just we lapsed a lot, not even in just this administration, but prior, because of the cohesiveness of not really acting on those plans. I know we used to meet with DPP every other month when it related to Kapalama and Ivalay, and then that kind of just dropped down with the incoming of the new administration.
Yeah, I think part of that is, we, like I said, we had like a 50 to 60% vacancy rate for planners. So with the shortage, we've done better. I think it's a matter of capacity that may have been affecting, pushing these plans out.
Okay, because those plans also kind of take up a lot of money opportunity. No, I don't say money. Financial opportunities for TOD as it's coming along. We want to be able to start having, when we open segment 3, those opportunities be readily available and readily built, I should say. So thank you.
Agreed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Okimoto.
Thank you, Councilmember Cordero. Vice Chair Tupola.
Thank you. Aloha, Director. I feel like we talk a lot, so I don't have a lot of questions. Just the quick one about that you said you do have some funds that you use to contract out backlog, sometimes dependent on. Can you just share that with me one more time? I wanted to ask a question about that.
Yes, so that's actually through our FRF funding that we have an existing contract. It will run out this year, but we are using it for, say, electrical review of commercial plans where we have a higher backlog than other areas, and then some in the residential. But it is helpful that we're able to, when we see these spikes, that we can get some additional help to address specifically those spikes.
And are you putting in money in the budget to continue that contract, or you'll let that one run out and then you'll ask again next year?
Yes, exactly. We'll let this one run out, and then if need be, have that cushion if that should happen. But I think with a lot of the tech implementations, we're going to see how all that works out, and maybe in general our backlogs will not be as much of a problem.
And then as you kind of monitor this year with all the new tech that's coming in, maybe opening up the contract to be more broad to allow for inspector overages or like a workload that might be too heavy, just so that whatever contract you do get, if you do need it in the future, can kind of hit anywhere that's having like way too much workload that it's getting backlogged, so that maybe that contract, kind of like what they do for parks where it's very flexible and it's like a master contract. You can use it for 12 different things. Laura's like a magician. So anything that, you think would help you so that we don't have to do any large budget changes, I would look forward to that next year, knowing that it's something sometimes we can't predict. Sometimes industries or stuff we do, it hits a hard part and then we don't have enough staff, and we don't want to go through the budget every time we need to contract out extra help.
Right. No, that sounds perfect. Yeah, just having that extra insurance, not knowing what could come about, that would be great. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks, Director. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Tupola. Floor Leader Kia Aina.
Thank you. Similarly to Councilmember Tupola, I see you all the time. Appreciate working with you and your team, including the staff who's at the Fosse building. So I'm not gonna go into too much. First, let me just tell you what, one of the big items that I'm working on with regard to the budget will be for a loan forgiveness program to attract and incentivize students, engineers coming out of University of Hawaii or elsewhere who could help plug the gap, yeah? And so I just wanted to let you know about that. I'm looking at incentivizing up to 20 engineers. And I feel that it's win-win for all of us, because I know everybody wants positions, of course, but your role is so critically important in making the permitting process move forward. Yeah, you can only do so much with money. You need warm bodies, and we need to collectively figure out how to get that done. So I just wanted to let you know about that. And of course, me and you being on the SPEED task force established by the legislature, identified workforce development and permitting process as a top priority. So I hope to get support for that as well. With regard to positions and relating to agricultural planning, the Oahu Historic Preservation Commission, as well as the Planning Commission, I will work with you on what positions might need additional funding. I simply ask that you look at the totality of your vacancies to see whether or not some of those positions could be used for that. And that's pretty much it. I appreciate all that you guys have done on helping with recruitment and retainment, but all of the technological improvements that you guys are trying to move forward. It is not an easy process, but we are better off than when we first all started in 2021.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Kia-Aina. Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
I'm going to agree with Councilmember Kia-Aina's assessment, and I know that I'm often a critic, perhaps, or yeah, we'll go with that, of the department. But there's actually a lot in this presentation that makes me smile. I want to start with the vacancy numbers. 85 in this year's snapshot, 99 in last year's snapshot, and 100 in the previous year's snapshot. And if you look at the overtime numbers being estimated for this upcoming budget, $227,000. Last year's $299,000. So taken together, I think that's a very positive sign for the department. In addition, on the revenue side, total revenues for FY26 are estimated on slide 7 at $32 million. And last year, the budgeted estimate amount was 31.5. So we're seemingly outpacing last year's estimates in terms of revenue. I don't have any questions on the expenditure side, which I guess is a good thing. I do have some questions on the revenue side, and this is in the big binder, page C75. I note that the estimate of short-term rental penalties was $550,000 last year, and that's because we increased the estimate by $500,000. It was originally $50,000, but this year the department's coming in with an estimate of $800,000. Are we confident that we'll get there?
Yes, and I think that's going to be, it's not starting, from day one, because we're just making a lot of changes in fine collections and investigations. But we think those efforts and those improvements will bring in more of the collections.
Good. On the building permit side, the actuals from FY25 was something close to about $28.5 million. The FY26 estimate's only $25,000, and FY27's also $25,000 on the revenue side. I understand that we're moving things faster, and but why is the building permit fee amount staying static?
So that was we were talking about that yesterday. I think that it should be consistent with the review, with the plan review fee, and the permit fee should actually be a similar increase as far as percentage. So we're trying to figure out what the disconnect was there. But I would just say that those are conservative estimates overall. But I think, like we said, every day we're getting better. So with that, we hope to exceed these projections when it comes to building permits.
Good, and I hope you do too. On the third-party reviewers at the top, there's 0 estimated this year and in FY26 as well for registration of third-party reviewers. What's going on with that program?
It continues. I mean, they do review a majority of our commercial projects, but as we get better, I think people in general will turn to just having a regular review through DPP rather than having a third party pay a third party. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then on special inspectors, which is about halfway down the page, exam fees and registration fees for special inspectors. We set up that program, I don't know, about 2.5 years ago at this point. How's that program going?
I think it's fine. It's not widely used, but I think it's a good option that is out there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What can we do to activate that program a little bit more?
You know, I think part of, because Councilmember Tupola keeps asking about the, you know, our inspection side, whether the timing and our ability to provide inspections. And so we're looking at the data on that. And I think that includes whether special inspections are, you know, where do they factor in? So we're going to look at all that data and see how or if they should play a bigger role, or maybe they won't be needed as much.
And I noticed there's not a line item for the self-certification program. Is that?
Yeah, there wasn't. The only cost to us is probably just the administration of the tests, and so it's not a lot to do that. It's part of the building division is able to do that without extra
There's no
expense.
exam fee?
Is there an exam fee? I believe there is. Yes.
And I'm assuming that would just be logged under the same as special inspectors, perhaps?
Maybe not. It would probably be separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because that, you know, that's just helpful for us to be able to track the performance of that program. Okay, thank
Agreed.
you. That's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam. Director to Deputy, want to expound on that, or?
Yeah, so Deputy Director said that there's no fee for the self-certification test.
There is, okay. Thank you. Councilmember Tolba. Committee Vice Chair Nishimoto.
I will email them questions in light of the 2 info briefings we had last week.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair. Chair Waters. Okay, I just had one question. In your slide 5, you did mention the overtime, and I was just wondering how that works, because you did also mention to Councilmember Tupola about the funds contracted for the personnel who work on the backlog. So if I heard correctly, the general fund estimated hours and budget for that was for employees who do overtime work. Is that separate from also the contracted positions who do backlog work that are funded from federal funds right now?
Yes, it's separate. So there's one, we have contracted a company that does reviews similar to us, and that's FRF funded. That's the one the contract's going to run out. And then this overtime is mostly for building plans examiners. That's residential review for building permits, and then commercial engineers doing commercial building permit review.
And sorry, and so how does the contract, if you could explain that to me again, the ones with the FRF funding, how is that different from this? You mentioned residential and commercial.
So the overtime is for the staff itself. They're working overtime to, I see what you're saying, to work on the backlog. So residential, it would be residential code review, and then commercial, even where we have a really high backlog in the electrical, those we have 3 engineers, so they will work overtime to try to bring that down. But in addition to that, because electrical is so high, we need to hire 5 more electrical engineers. We have that many vacancies. We can supplement with this contract that outside of DPP, they do electrical reviews for us. So it's supplemental to, yeah.
Thank you. And just so I understand, so I'm trying to visualize this. So those who are working overtime, this is like after regular hours on weekends. How does that work? And they submit requests to do overtime, or?
Yes, all of that.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'll go through round 2. Maybe if we have round 2 questions, we'll limit it to 1 to 2 questions if anybody has. Okay, Councilmember Cordero.
Yeah, I just have one. I forgot to mention or ask about the updates and if it's going to be funded through different forms that DPP approves, such as a sidewalk right-of-way, and what residents have to fill out, and so that they just know all the information. Sorry, hold on, let me read it. Oh, okay, sorry. So sidewalk right-of-way and what's allowed and not allowed in the variance application.
Yes, we're working on that, and I think we're gonna update that. I know we met before So we'll,
like 4 years ago?
yeah, we will get that done.
Like, does that need budget funding? Because that's like a whole rehaul of an application, right?
So that's going to tie into the overall city standards update that we're working with the various departments on. We see some intricacies that we need to work out, and what permits are pulled and how it gets versus city right of way, and who's going to maintain property owner and city right of way versus private property. So there's some details we need to coordinate. Most of it's like utilities in that sidewalk grassed area, especially irrigation, things like that. So we're working on it.
Okay. Apparently 2 years and 10 months, right, is what we have. So
understood. It ties into a much larger overall city standards that it goes back to our 1984 standards. Like, so it's getting incorporated in a larger effort. So, but yeah, I understand. And then it also ties into what we call surface encroachment permits. So that needs a whole revamp too of what is allowed and what's not allowed. Because DPP sends out a lot of violations. There's a lot of enforcement of what's in those areas, and it's getting in depth.
are we actually collecting them, or are we just sending DFM to just like jackhammer the right of ways that are not supposed to have gravel and stuff like that? Because that happened in my district.
If we set out fines, and there's people who don't pay the fines, it goes to collections, and we can get a report on those various fines.
Will that be in the budget for rehauling all those city standard? I forgot what word you said. City.
No, that's going to be an internal effort through DPP, so it's just going to be normal staff regular hours. We're not anticipating any extra like consultant contract or anything like that.
Okay, I was going to ask if you guys need to do that so that we can like get there before the 2 years and 10 months. Maybe we should. I don't know.
Yeah. So it's gone pretty far along. The contract's under DFM. It's just a coordination piece between how the departments work together.
Okay.
And then who reviews what and when. And it's a typical, not all the engineers agree on what is appropriate practice. And there's some legal issues we need to discuss on where's the liability on private owner, contractor, engineer, and the city. So there's some terminology we got to work on. And that's really the bulk of what's been holding this back.
Okay, I could have had a keiki that's graduating preschool already by this time that we've been waiting for this. So, okay, thank you.
Fair enough.
Thank you, Councilmember Cordero. Florida Kia Aina, Councilmember Dos Santos Tam. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, members, it is now 12:04. Thank you so much, Department of Planning and Permitting. Thank you, Director, and your team for being here. It is now 12:40. We will break for lunch and reconvene. We'll reconvene at 1:30 p.m.